I want to talk a little bit about warrants and what you should do if someone is knocking on your door and they identify themselves as a police officer and they want to come in. The first piece of advice that I give people, if someone's knocking on your door, they want to come in, they want to look for evidence, they want to look for a person, they claim to be a police officer. The first thing really you should say is, okay, that's fine, I understand, sir. I think it would be a good idea for me to speak with my attorney before I give you permission to enter. Now, if they have a warrant, they don't need your permission. If they've got a valid warrant that was executed, signed by a judge, they're not going to be looking for your permission. So they're not going to be asking you, is it okay if we? And that's the easiest way to determine whether or not a police officer has a warrant. If they're asking you permission, say, may we come in? We would like to look around. Is it okay if we come in? And sometimes they ask this question in a sort of a loaded way. They ask the question where they're saying, is it okay to come in? But they're saying it with a tone of voice that makes it sound like there is no option other than to say, okay, yeah, fine, come on in. So if they have a warrant, they're going to first announce, I'm the police, I've got a warrant, we're going to be searching these premises, you need to vacate, or we need to get you out of here while we do this, or we want to talk to you. If they're just asking permission, that's called a knock and talk, where the detective might knock on the door and say, hey, we received a report, we'd like to come in, can we come in right now because we want to look for certain evidence. At that point, they probably don't have a warrant because they're asking for permission, and it's a good idea to say, I'd really like to speak with an attorney before I give you permission to enter my property. People panic because they feel like, oh my goodness, what if I don't give permission for them to come into my home? What if I deny them permission? Is that going to look bad? Is that going to make me look like I'm hiding something or that I'm guilty? And the answer is absolutely not. It can't be used against you. When you invoke your right to counsel and you say, I want to speak with my attorney, you're just basically applying your constitutional rights. What you're doing is you're saying, I'd like to have my right to a lawyer exercised, and that can't be used against you in a trial. It also just protects you because the general rule of thumb is that if the police are just knocking and asking to come in, they don't have the evidence necessary to go in and do it legitimately. They're just on a fishing expedition. And I think it's very important that I've got nothing to hide in my home, but if a police officer was knocking and wanting to come check things out and what's going on in my bedroom, I wouldn't let him in because I know that my right is that I can speak with an attorney. I can not give them permission, that there's nothing wrong with saying, no, I'm not going to let you in. It's my business, and I'm not going to have someone go through my stuff. And unfortunately, people who perhaps are in a different area of town, perhaps they don't know exactly what their rights are, and they're sort of used to the police barging their way in, might feel a little bit intimidated, and that's where it's a good idea just to call an attorney. The good news is that you don't have to have an attorney to invoke your right to counsel or to basically deny entry to a police officer. You can say, look, I want to speak with my attorney. They're not going to quiz you and say, well, who's your attorney? That's just invoking your right, and that's going to prevent them from coming in. If you have any questions about this whatsoever, give us a call. 602-989-5000 is our number, 602-989-5000, and thanks so much.